All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to What Are Your Thoughts on Real Estate? I'm Cuong, and I guarantee the sale of your home or I'll buy it. So my guest today is Johan Francis. So Johan, can you let the listeners know a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, glad to be here, Cuong. My name is Johan Francis. I'm a staffing and recruitment professional here in the GTA.
Okay. There's a pandemic that's going on right now. So let's get the real estate stuff out of the way first. What do you think is going to happen to the real estate market?
You know what? I think real estate, much like everything else, seems a little uncertain. One thing I have noticed, I noticed interest rates have dropped quite a bit. I've noticed a lot of houses on my street being going up for sale and selling over asking. So it looks like it might be a great time, if you're a seller to get your house sold.
Sure. Well, I only work in the GTA, so I'll keep my opinion localized to the GTA. So I think there's going to be some unfortunate people who no longer can keep their homes or investment properties. And I do see some people being forced to sell their homes because of, the possible job losses, right? And so I think it's really logical that there will be some properties being listed, especially in the suburbs, York region, Durham, and Peel, if this goes on for another quarter. What do you think about that?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely see a lot of opportunity there.
Okay. So I've been really lucky to be involved with Craig Proctor as my coach. So my business hasn't been affected too much. Actually, I have more leads than I normally had, and my team's very busy. We're just trying to follow up right now, right? How have you made the adjustment for your business with the things, the way they are right now?
Well, I think, from a staffing and recruitment standpoint, it's taken a big hit, largely due to the uncertainty that's happening right now in the economy. People are operating on the principle of fear. So for me, I've noticed a huge kind of pause, so to speak, when it comes to recruitment, just where people want to see where things go. Things seem to be changing day by day. So right now, there has been a big impact.
Okay, so eventually there will be an end to this, right? Hopefully sooner than later, right? But what do you foresee? What does the future look like in staffing and recruiting?
Well, you know what? I've always viewed staffing and recruitment as something that will last through the bad times. I got involved in staffing recruitment during the 2008 financial crisis. That's when I first dug my heels into it. So it's really about, I think I'll come through stronger than ever. It's about, having a value proposition, being able to service your clients, understand their needs, right, and being able to execute.
Hey, buddy, you know what? If you ever want to stop doing staffing and recruiting, you can join me in real estate, just so you know, buddy. So what do you see happening from all this, in terms of job loss?
Well, right now, due to the uncertainty right now and with the regulations passed by the federal and provincial government from the work from home standpoint, we've noticed a lot of temporary job loss. A lot of people that are on temporary layoffs, a lot of people that have been given full layoffs. I think what we're seeing is a little bit of a change. The market's adjusting itself. We were always, expecting a little bit of a recession, but we weren't expecting this pandemic to be associated with it either.
Yeah, this is like once in a century kind of thing, right?
Literally.
Yeah. So, what about unemployment insurance? Obviously, I'm sure you're more aware of this, and you probably know a lot more about this than I do. In terms of people applying, there was a spike recently. Can you elaborate on this? Hey, can you hear me?
I lost you there for a second.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, so I'll repeat the question, right?
Yeah.
So in terms of unemployment insurance, there's been a spike in it. People have more people have applied for it. What are your thoughts on it? And just share your know-how.
Yeah, well, I mean, with these temporary layoffs, I mean, and the initiatives the government has offered, I think there's other types of EI people are able to get, type that's actually reviewed every 2 weeks for temporary layoffs, and then there's of course your regular 6 month type of employment insurance. For those that need it, for sure, take it. I know, speaking to people within my circle, I know there's been a huge backlog in calling and getting through to them. Um, but if you do need it, by all means, I think you should jump on that.
Okay. So from all this stuff, I personally wasn't affected by the stock market, right? But if some real estate investors or homeowners were affected, this could definitely lead to people selling off some properties. Were you affected by the stock market in any way?
You know, I'm not that risky when it comes to stocks. I dabble it here and there, but I'm not really a stock guy. So I was impacted slightly, but not enough where it's a huge detriment to me and my family.
Okay. So, like, I mean, other than the stocks, right? How has this affected you and your family?
Well, I mean, it's kind of the world has seemingly turned upside down. People are don't know what's happening tomorrow. People don't know and that's really also had an impact, in industries like mine, and also even my spouse's. She works in an audiology in regards to clientele coming in. There's nobody coming for appointments. That's led to a shortage of hours. That's led to some temporary layoffs as well. So there's been an impact felt, and luckily for us, it hasn't been quite as drastic as other families out there. But still, I think it's this current pandemic has kind of touched everyone in one way or the other.
Yeah, that's true. Is everyone healthy in your family, like, and friends that we know, like that you know? Is that have you heard any cases or anything like that?
Thankfully, no cases, so everyone's been good. At the same time, everyone's kind of erring on the side of caution with this whole social distancing. Hopefully, we can kind of flatten that curve.
Yep.
And it's a pandemic, so I'm pretty sure sooner or later everyone's going to get it. But if we can limit it, that everyone's not getting at the same time, that's a win, right?
Yeah, of course, of course. Well, for deferral payments, I have to bring this up. It's not, it's not the best favorite topic for anyone right now, but I'm pretty sure you're not affected by it. But have you heard about mortgage deferral payments?
Yeah, so with the plan that was laid out by the government, it's not quite as black and white as they made it seem. I was talking to a lot of colleagues of mine, a lot of people in my circle, and they're saying it's been very difficult to get their banks to cooperate. Banks are doing it ad hoc, case by case kind of basis. Oftentimes, one or both of the people in the household have to have suffered some level of job loss. So it's not really an answer for everybody. So I know the government kind of made it seem like it was going to be something available to our everyday citizens. I don't think, from what I'm hearing, that's not the case.
Yeah. So this goes back to me. Do you think it was a PR move?
Most definitely. By the government, they got to save face. They got to make it look like they're doing something for the
Yeah.
people. At the end of the day, in this kind of market that we live in, uh, these banks want to make their money. They want to make their profits, and they don't care who's in their way.
Yeah. Pretty much, you know what we just did, right? We're going to be paying very high rates just because I mentioned that, right? So part of me wants to edit that, but who cares? That's it. We're sharing. So earlier you were mentioning about social distancing, right? What does that mean to you?
Well, I think that term social distancing is something that was, for me, coined very recently. I had no idea what it meant in regards to it. It seemed like just a catchphrase, and
Right.
as to what's going on. But the more I've learned about the impact of COVID-19, the more I think me, like most people, understand the importance of social distancing, meaning that stay in your house unless you have to go out. Limit it for stuff like groceries or medications. Because I think at the end of the day, we all want what's that's best for everybody is to have a slowdown in this pandemic, right? In these cases, and try to limit it as much as we can,
Right.
so we can all do our part.
Well, hello?
I'm here.
Yeah, yeah, okay, yeah, okay, yeah, So my next question for you, right? You've seen all the memes, right? All those empty shelves, the
Yeah,
hoarding of toilet paper. You've seen all that, correct?
I have.
Were you one of those sons of bitches that was hoarding? Be honest here.
Nah, nah. Unfortunately, no. I think it's important that we all kind of take a step back and do things with a clear perspective.
Yeah,
I think the media has kind of forced or let everyone to have a little bit of hysteria, led to a little bit of panic. That's what uncertainty does, right? But I think it's important that we all understand supply chains still open,
yeah,
stocks are getting reshelved. Hardworking, workers at the supermarkets and drugstores are working hard and tirelessly to maintain sanitation and restocking those shelves. But I think it's important that we keep that in mind, our fellow neighbor, and we leave enough, take what we need, and leave enough for the rest of us.
yeah. I completely agree with you there. I mean, right now, this is one of those things where the human race is actually sick right now, right? And it's going to take compassion and for us to heal together, right? I think that's very important. So, sensationalism from the media. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, I think we all understand that media controls the narrative in everything that we do, right? So um, I don't know if it's for attention. I don't know if there's some level of truth to it because everything's so uncertain. I think, the media has led to a certain level of hysteria,
Yeah,
and has led to people having, not thinking with a clear mind,
yeah,
certain level of heightened panic. And that's something we all gotta take things into account. Take, like I said before, take a step back and try and use our own brains and understand that well, let's all do our part and hopefully things will figure itself out.
you seem pretty rational, right? But why do you think for some people it just puts their brain in overdrive?
I think we're spoiled. I mean, living in Western society, we're used to a certain level of comforts, a certain level of what we consider rights and privileges. And the simple fact is the threat to it, we're all a bit, I guess, your initial reactions be taken aback and say, no, you can't take that away from me. And, oh, okay, it's either we're one side or the other. And there's no kind of middle ground. So, that's why people go out and take nine packets of toilet paper and
Oh,
and all the Lysol wipes. It's not understanding that it's a slight adjustment. It doesn't mean that we have to go into ultra panic mode. And
yeah. Okay, that's wow. You're a pretty rational guy. So, as you know, sporting events have been canceled,
oh,
and
I know.
yeah, yeah, that's right. It's the worst. The UFC was supposed to stay on, but they've canceled the next few events. But they have promised UFC 249, where Khabib Nurmagomedov will be taking on Tony Ferguson. That is probably one of the greatest matchups of all time. I swear to God, if they cancel that event, I'm gonna be really pissed off. I'm getting really bored of playing online poker. I know you're. It's the worst, man. It's the worst. I know you're a basketball fan, right? So, what do you think about the NBA being the season getting suspended?
Well, you know what? That was a tough one because I think for me, much like a lot of sports fans out there, basketball or not, that's when things really became real. Like when a major sporting league canceled all league games for the immediate future due to some players contracting the actual virus.
Right, right.
So that's when everyone kind of took a step back and like, whoa, this pandemic seems to be real, and it requires our attention. From a fan's perspective, I'm bored. I'm at home. We're self quarantining. I'm also a huge UFC fan. I like all major sports, so
Right.
at home it's kind of like from a TV standpoint is it's really limited, right?
Okay. So, like, do you see the season starting back up in June?
June. So June's about 8 weeks from now.
Right.
I think a lot of that'll be a very telling time. Personally, I do think looking at the way we talk about this curve, the curve is going. I think we might need a few more weeks than that. I think if it does continue, basketball, hockey, we're probably looking at baseball, probably looking at July. That's my personal opinion.
You do know, right? If they do cancel the NBA season, then we get to be chanced for one more year, right?
Hey man, there's a silver lining in every cloud, right? But as a Raptors fan, I was kind of hoping to do it the old-fashioned way. But
It's overrated. Hard work's overrated, man. Okay, so now it's time for our segment where we answer questions. It's more for me to take care of, but you can chime in too, okay, buddy? So we have a question here. It's from another realtor, and they're going to rename nameless. Why do you use Craig Proctor as your coach, and do you think it's different from using a Canadian coach versus an American coach? So for myself, right, Craig Proctor's my coach because he can actually pronounce my name, Cuong, okay? And to be honest, he used to refer to me as that guy. But, over time, he's actually learned my name, so I feel much better about that. I feel, a bit more important. And I use Craig Proctor because he used to sell 600 homes a year in Newmarket, okay? And I can learn from him rather than a realtor in my office that has about, 25 years of experience but can't even sell a home every year. And I also think it's helpful to have someone that works in your geographic area so they can understand market conditions. What do you think about that? Not about Craig Proctor, but let's say, Canadian coach or mentorship in general. Canadian coach versus American. What do you think, buddy?
I think mentorship is tremendously important. I think if you have the opportunity to learn from someone who's been a star and successful in their league, in their specific kind of industry, you take advantage of that. I mean, I think as professionals, we're always learning. And if you can learn ways that can help you sharpen you and help you, take you from good to great, and you have someone that can help you get there, you definitely take that. I've been lucky enough to have some great mentors in my life, and been lucky enough to be mentors to some people in my industry as well. And that's something I value, and it's something I take very seriously. If you find a great one, you go after it and you keep it.
No, I definitely agree with you on that one. So can you let the listeners know what you're up to or anything that you're involved with right now? Now's the time to mention it. So go ahead.
Yeah. So we're here, business as usual. Like Ontario is releasing, I guess, the essential services.
Yep.
So, fully operational. If anyone has any questions in regards to market conditions, jobs, looking at ways, maybe considering a career transition, reach out to me. If you have any questions regarding, maybe alternatives to, alternate careers, I'm available. I can answer any questions you may have.
Yep. What's email or do you want to leave your email or number, whatever you like? Just mention it here, and then we'll definitely put it in the comment box later too. Okay.
Yeah, I can be reached via Gmail. So it's Johann, JOHANN, the letter F11 at gmail.com. Reach out to me for any inquiries, even just a chat, any questions you may have, or there's no such thing as a stupid question. I'm all ears.
Okay, buddy. So thanks for taking out the time to talk with me. And I also want to thank everyone for listening. If you have any real estate questions, real estate related questions, or even, you're bored and you have questions about life that you want Cuong to answer, no problem. Email me at CUONGREALTOR@gmail.com. That's QuongRealtor@gmail.com. And I'll answer the next time I do a podcast. Okay, thanks, buddy. Thanks so much. And let's do this again, okay?
Have a great one, guys.
Okay.
Stay safe.
See ya.